morning,
Good
sir.
morning, Neelu. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you. How about you,
Many,
sir?
many congratulations. Clap for you
Thank you so much, sir.
for your wonderful performance and a great achievement of your life.
It was all possible, sir, just because of you, sir. Because in the beginning, I was without any clue. I mean, I had no clue about the interview. I had already qualified the written exam, but because I never appeared for such kind of interview, so I was quite nervous, and especially I had no clue because the syllabus is so big of English literature. I had no idea where should I start. Then I came across your YouTube channel, and from then I felt quite lucky that I don't know, maybe it was just a coincidence because I'm not a very technical person. I hardly use YouTube and other social media, so I came across your channel. I think it it was just a random video, and I started watching it. Then I got interested seeing the content of your videos. Then I found your number and got in touch. So I think it all was a coincidence for me.
That's great. That's really great. Now we are going to be inspiration to many thousands of candidates who are looking for this job.
Yeah,
And
sir.
we are
Sir,
going to be,
to tell you the truth. I mean, the village where I come from. I'm right now in my village, and there's almost like 6,000 voters. It's a big village, and I'm the first person who has been selected as an assistant professor.
oh,
I'm the first
wow,
candidate from my village.
great. That's great. Amazing. Can you share a little bit of your background so that the people will be able to attach with you?
Yeah, definitely, sir. So, sir, as I already mentioned, I'm in my village. So I was born and brought up in a small village in western Uttar Pradesh from Meerut. So my family was agricultural family. So my father he was a agriculture and he was a farmer, and we did not have like we were not such a big farmers. We used to grow vegetables. I used to help my father grow vegetables in the fields. And during my 10 plus 2, I used to go to the markets and sell the vegetables there. Then I qualify. Then I passed to, 10 plus 2, and then I had this. I don't know what was that at that time. I wanted to study, uh, and my father wasn't interested in me sending away. I wanted to study from Delhi University because my sister was there. She was living there, and my nephews they were studying in JNU and Delhi University. So they told me that you have like chances. You may be able to get admission there in Delhi universities if you're interested. They invited me there, and I just became like, no, I will just study from there because I had already seen the environment. So when they got admission there, so I went with them there, and I saw the environment, and I was so like I was so motivated seeing the environment there. Then I said, if I will do my graduation, that I will do my graduation either from here, and or I will not continue my studies. So then I applied there, and fortunately I got admission there. And my father, he was not willing to send me there. He was quite reluctant because I was helping him in agriculture. So he said, no, if you want to study from here, then only then I can finance your studies, otherwise you have to be on your own. I said, okay, no problem, I will do whatever I can. So I said, okay, but I'm not coming back. Either I have to like go door to door, sell newspapers, so I will deliver newspapers, but I will not be coming back. So I have to stay here no matter what I will be doing here, but I will stay here. I'm not coming back because it's my only chance. So I stayed there. I was quite adamant what I was doing. Then after some time my father realized that whatever decision you made at that time, so it was good. So then he agreed, and he started financing my studies. So fortunately, did not have to work anywhere, so I could. And at that time, my English was very poor, sir. My English was not so good. Like when I used to go to college, I studied one of the in the South Campus, Dayal Singh College. So there, everybody was just speaking English. I went to into my first lecture, so I had decided that from now onwards I will study only in English medium. So I had decided. So I took English medium, and I went into first lecture. So my professor, she was teaching Marxist theory at that time, Marxism, political science, and I had no idea what was going on. Like I started taking notes, and like I used to like write. Then there were so many gaps. Like she was speaking so fast, I was not able to catch everything. So whatever I was getting, I was writing, and if I'm not able to get something, so I used to live like a space that maybe I will take from somebody's help and will take the notes. So there were so many gaps on my copy. There were so many gaps. Then I started but I was adamant that I'm not going to like go into Hindi mediums, because that thing I could have done in merit itself. So now I will only study in English medium. Then I started reading newspaper in English, started watching movies, English movies. Then little by little, I started getting confident. And only after 1 year, because I was so interested, other students were not so focused in studies. Because even in Delhi University, people think that once you are into college, so college are made for fun. Here you are not to do serious studies. So when you come, you take, have fun, enjoy, because you have already, maybe we'll study on for studies later, but we are in the first year. So only they were only focused on having fun, hanging around. So they were not quite serious. I was the only serious student in my class. All the professor were so proud of me. Like he's the only one who is always present, and he completes all the assignments on time. So I became like a favorite in all the classes. And then I think after 1 year, other students started taking my help. Means I really work hard on myself, and I saw people who came from English medium, and they were writing their papers in Hindi. They were not writing their papers in English, but I was adamant, and I wrote all the papers. And fortunately, what happened, sir, in the first year, I qualified all the exams in English medium, and I failed in Hindi.
Oh my God. That's a big irony.
Yeah, I failed in Hindi because I was so confident that this exam I can do. Like it's so easy. So I was only focused on Hindi. Then I finished my graduation, and then like I did not have so many career choices. One of the reason when I went to Delhi was I wanted to learn a foreign language. At that time, I wanted to study either that maybe Spanish or French. But because I performed so poorly in the written exam, I did not made it to the final list, so I did not get selected. Then I started doing BA from the Delhi University. Then after completing my graduation, there came this new course. It was a intensive advanced diploma in Portuguese language. So it was like very intensive. Like they were teaching 3 years of course in just 1 year. So I was so interested that I don't have to spend another 3 years doing the same thing. So they finished everything within a year. And just after 1 year, because I found it so interesting, because I was always interested in language and literature, I found it quite interesting. And only after 8 months of course, I was already speaking Portuguese, because at that time I was studying like 15 or 16 hours a day. It was so interesting. And besides, there were so opportunities coming from so many companies. They were visiting us, and they were asking whether we were interested in working. So, and we did not have, I did not finish my course at that time, and they were already asking me to join. So I said, no, first I will finish my course, and then maybe I will join. So only after 1 year, I got an opportunity. I started working in a research firm, and they were paying me like 50,000 a month. It was back in 2009. So it was such a big amount for me, 50,000 at that time. I mean, it was like, is it real or I'm still dreaming? Like 50,000 a month. It was such a big deal at that time. Then I became more interested. Then I took admission in another course. I did advanced diploma. It was in Portuguese literature. So then, I mean, at that time, I realized that now I am on the track. So I am on the right track now. So then I got an opportunity in Indian Today Groups. I started working there as a project manager. I got selected in 2011. And I stayed there for like 4 years. And they sent me back to back Brazil. I was visiting, I was going to Brazil at that time, back to back. Then somewhere, that literature thing was going on in my mind, that because all the time I did not have so much work in the office, so all the time I was reading. I had this thing that I could like in my free time, so nobody was bothering that. I was just focused. I was not gossiping around, and they thought that it will only help like in the project. So other people, other project managers, they were gossiping all the time, but I was just focused on my literature thing. Then
Passion was already there. Passion was
yeah,
already there since
passion
the
was
beginning.
already there. That now, because I had got what I wanted. I had gotten that thing, and I did not wanted to lose that thing. And they were there for like 3 4 years, and they never went abroad. And I joined within a year. I was in Brazil.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then uh, I got another opportunity. I resigned from there because they were paying good and it was a better company, better opportunity. Then they said why? Because my client was so happy. The Brazil counterparts, they were so happy with me, and they thought that they never realized that they were dealing with an Indian company, because I was speaking Portuguese with them and they did not know any English. So it was like they were dealing with a local company. So they were quite happy and they were sending more projects from Brazil. So my manager asked that, why do you want to leave? Because I'm being paid less. I want more because I have nothing. Like I still ride my bike. I do not have car. I did not buy an apartment like this. I mean, with this much, I won't be able to survive. I want my. I was very ambitious at that time. They said then how much they are paying. So they were like paying me that time. I think eight lakh per annum. Then they said, okay, if we pay you the amount, will you stay with us? Then I said, of course I will stay. There's no issue. Then our CEO at that time, he was in London. So they called that he's willing to stay only on one condition: if we pay this amount, same amount. He said, okay, give him whatever he wants, but don't let him go. Don't let him go. And then my salary was like more than my manager. My account manager was getting less than me.
Oh my
And
God.
he started feeling like we started having more conflicts, because like he was my manager and I was working under him. He started feeling jealous, and so things were not going very well. Either even other account managers, they were like, he's just a project manager, he's getting more than us. Then I started feeling uncomfortable. And in next year, they did not give me any increase. They did not give me any hike because they thought my salary was already like more than what they were giving other project managers. So then I started to think, okay, I'm going. I resigned. I resigned from there, and at the same time, I received another opportunity from another company. They paid me like 30% extra on my current CTC. Then I started working there, and when I was there, so they wanted to send me Brazil for 6 months for a training on a project. At that time, there was a football FIFA going on in Brazil, and they rejected my visa at that time. They were giving priority to the tourist, so they were not allowing the business visa at that time. So somehow they rejected my application, and I couldn't go to Brazil. And somehow we lost the project which were coming from Brazil. So, and they were paying me like, I think, more than 10 lakh per annum at that time. So they started feeling like we are paying him and I was not doing anything. Then they were like using me in other projects. They started using me in sales. I started doing sales for them. Then I got one opportunity film from the Philippines. At that time, already had started doing my post graduation in English literature. So then I got this opportunity from the Philippines, and I resigned there. I went to Philippines, and there I was working, and I was on my own. It was quite a different experience. Like I never expected that living abroad could be so difficult. I think we already discussed on that. Like I felt very lonely and alienated. Like no attachment. I was just working and sleeping. Then I found a library nearby, and there I started reading Shakespeare.
Okay.
Yeah, Shakespeare, Robinson Crusoe. So I found comfort in the books. So I was always reading. And then my first year result came when I was in Philippines. I passed somehow, although I got very poor marks that time because I was working. Then after a year, I came back from there, and then I completed my second year. In second year, I did well. I think 65% I got in second year. Then something happened in the family. My nephew, he got paralyzed. He had a stroke and he got paralyzed. And that was like a very depressing moment for me. I was just staying home. I was not willing to work. Had enough money, uh, had enough saving, so I was not interested. That time, my brother got interested in politics. Then I helped him in, and we won the election here at the
Oh,
same
great.
time. Yeah, I came from there, and like financially, I was in a very strong position. So I spent some money, and somehow because I was living abroad, so people got that impression that his brother is working abroad. So I mean, he's a good candidate. He was, I mean, for 10 years in the politics, so he won the election. Then I started focusing on my net JRF. I was doing. Then at the same time, I was also taking some freelancing here and there and doing my studies. So this is all how it all happened. Then I qualified net on my second attempt. First attempt, I had no idea at that time. I just went for the exam that let's see what is there. I went there and I found it really difficult that time, but I still continued studying more and more. At the same time, I was having thoughts that maybe I should join some coachings because I did my MA from private. So I was thinking that maybe I should do it from some coaching. And but I saw a couple of demo classes, and I did not find that very interesting. Whatever they were teaching, like it was very basic. They were not like so good. I mean, what I was looking for. Then I started by myself that okay, let's do it. Then I qualified in next attempt. I qualified the net. I went into hill. I went to a hill station. I went into mountains with I took all my books and went there. I hired a cottage there. Stayed there for 2 months by
Okay.
myself. Yeah, it was like such a solitary place. There was no one around, and I was the only one there, being with nature. And it was such a nice house, nice cottage. I stayed there for 2 months alone by myself. Was cooking my own food and studying. I came back from there, and I qualified next. Then I was thinking that time that maybe I should go for PhD. Then tried one or more attempt. Then I qualified JRF.
Great, great.
Yeah. Then after that, I started reading about research. I had no idea because I had no prior experience in how to go for a research. Even I found it difficult about choosing a topic. Then I was interested in that I will do my research in maybe post-colonial studies or Dalit literature. Then I started reading about research and started getting in touch with professors from Delhi University. Then this pandemic came, and like everything was like um, everything changed after that. Then I got this opportunity from Ericsson again. They hired me, and I started working from home. Then I worked for like 1 year and a half. At the same time, I was studying. Then this opportunity came in. The applications were out for Uttar Pradesh higher education. Then I applied, and I kept studying by myself at the same time working, and I qualified.
Okay, that's great. That's very, very, really inspiring journey that that is starting from a vegetable seller, then going to
Yeah.
universities, then becoming life like a monk.
Yes. I always been with nature. Like I used to work. I enjoyed that. I worked in fields. I sold vegetables, and I never felt like I was doing such a mean work. I still took proud in that I'm working like all this really hard, and it's not for me, but it's okay for the time being. Let's continue whatever is coming in my way. So I took all the opportunity, and I think because of that I'm here today. Whatever hard work I had done, so from the very beginning my father taught me to work hard. And I think I'm really grateful for that thing, because I never had a very comfortable life. And even today, like when I was working in Philippines, I was making a lot more money than I had ever expected. Like more than 2 lakhs per month I was making there. And even that time I was not living very like comfortable life. I was always like reading here, going here and there, learning about the culture, their language, because the language is my thing. Then I started learning French by myself at home. So like 1 hour every day I will study French. 4 years, 4 hours I would focus on my literature. So everything was going on at the same time. Even today, I got selected yesterday, and yesterday I was like, I'm reading this book because I bought this book long time ago. It's a
Yeah, great.
happiness hypothesis. So um, he's a psychologist. I liked his work. So even yesterday, like I was like, okay, now I would have more time to read my books. So books have
Sure,
helped
sure.
me. Yeah. I mean,
Great.
books. I just love books. I have so many books. Even sometimes it's difficult to read them, but I keep buying new books every time I say okay, let's buy this book. So I keep buying new books. I don't even care that how much they cost, but if I like a book, I definitely buy it. I think spending time with reading books or going through that. Sometimes I just keep seeing my notes in them. So this is what keeps me motivated all the time.
So this is the right profession for a book lover like you.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to love the thing you do. Then you
Yes.
like there's a saying in English that if you do what you love, then you never have to work in your life. So I believe in that. That's why I changed. I mean, there are what salary I was getting there, I will never get here. Uh, what I was getting, I think in 2014, I was getting around 1 lakh in 2014, and even today, I will not be getting. Even I did not care to check how much they are going to pay me. I was not
Yes,
interested in the
yes.
salary. I was just interested in the the profession. I mean, here I'm going to teach. I'm going to teach things that I really care about. I'm going to teach literature, and I'm going to share my experience and my knowledge with other students because I'm here because some professor cared for me. They helped me. Like people like you are there. I mean, when I joined your course and when I saw the amount that this is the amount you have to pay, I was just like, means it's not about money. At the first thing that came into my mind, no, this professor is not after money, he's after something else. I had that intuition at the very beginning that because the amount was so, I mean, I was just wondering that it's for one mock interview or five mock interview. I was thinking at that time. So that time I got to know that no, sir, are not after. They are not after money. It's something else. So this is what
That's
inspire. I
great.
mean, yeah, it's not about money because mostly people they go for a profession. They check the salary, how much they are paying. So it's all about money
Yes.
for them, and that's why I mean, they are always unhappy. They are not happy. They get selected. They start working there, and they know they don't like that work. They are there because of the money involved. So for me, it's never been like that. If I am working somewhere I am not learning anything from there, it doesn't matter how much they pay. Like if I go for interpretation, so they pay me like minimum 10,000. Like if even if I go for 1 hour or 2 hours, they pay me 10,000. If I find that no, the work is not interesting, then I know I'm not coming.
That's great. So, if I ask you, how did you start your journey of UPHESC? Because basically, the candidates are getting confused. From where to start? So, how did you start, and how did you balance your job and the study together? That is the most difficult task for any candidate.
So I think what I studied at during my journey towards NAT JRF, I think that also helped at that time because for a JRF you have to study a lot. I mean, so many things. The syllabus, I mean, I was so confused. Like, how can they give such a big syllabus? I mean, uh, can it really be completed in a year or 2 years? Because the more I was reading, more I was studying, and the more syllabus like. I still have that much to cover. And when it came to literary theory, I mean, literary theory itself is such a complicated thing. People teach it, and they study it, and some of the, I mean, terms, because it's so technical. When it comes to teaching or like explaining, even I understand everything, but when it comes to like you have to explain a theory, it's so difficult. And I have such a book volume, big volumes of book. I don't know why did I buy those books. Like their language is so technical, it's so difficult to understand. So I think, how do I study my like first I see the pattern, like what are the questionnaires, like previous questions, what kind of question they asked. So when I saw the questions, they were quite easy comparing to NetJRF. The questions, I think if we look at the complexity, so I find it more easier comparing to NetJRF. Their questions are like more advanced, more complicated. The scope of questions, I think, is bigger there. So here, I think basic questions, some questions are really easy. I mean, I did not have to like, well, means I had already studied. I saw the, okay, I know these questions, so they were quite easy. Even if we look at the questions from literary theory, they were quite easy. But still, I did not score so well in my written. I just scored, I think, 55 questions I got right, because of 30 questions which were coming from like higher education, from general knowledge, and yeah. So that part, like I was lagging behind in that part. 30 questions were out of my reach.
Yes,
So
yes. Generally, this problem is there for every candidate.
every, especially for a literature student, is quite the same thing happened to me. There were students like in other, like if we talk about political science or history, they are quite good. I mean, some of them are preparing for UPSC, civil services. So there, I think they are like ahead of us in that area. So one of the reason. But syllabus is, I think it's not a big syllabus. I mean, if you have a proper guidance, I think guidance really matter here. So I think if I had like guidance, if I could have like gotten in touch with you like before, so I think I could have scored like 65 or 70 minimum, I think. And at the same time, there was a marriage in my family at that time, so I also, my attention was also divided. So one of the reason I could not score so well. But I found the exam really easy. It's I think comparing to NET and JRF, it's easier.
Okay, great. So when you joined my mock interview course, what was there as an expectation in your mind?
I mean, we were talking last time, so like it takes me like time to trust a person, like if I am trusting the right person, because there are so many YouTube channels and they are all there to make money, and some of them are misguiding students. Then I came across your channel, then we had a word, then I thought, okay, let's try. And they were like, besides mock interviews, some of the content that you had put there, especially about the interview, how to go about, what kind of question they may ask, then I have some, I think it all started from there. The questions, their complexity, they sounded really interesting. Then I subscribed to your channel, and we got in touch, and I paid the fee. When I saw the amount, that time I realized that, okay, I think I'm going in the right direction, because it's not about money here. When I saw the amount, so that time I realized, yeah, I mean, if a person like just charging this much amount for such because I think you being a professor, I mean, that amount is really small amount. So that also motivated me. Then we started doing interviews. In my first interview, you know how nervous I was because it was my first time, and
Yes.
I was not even able to maintain the eye contact. Some of the things you taught me, and the question you asked. So that session was the most interesting thing, the question answer session. somebody asking me question, and if I have no answer, if I stuck, then that means I don't know, and if I don't know, I have to know that thing. So those were the very interesting. That's why I continued. Like after finishing final, that I still have time, so I would like to continue because I was enjoying those sessions and all the I mean tips and guidance.
Very nice. How do you conceive the idea of theory of impersonality by DSC?
So I think it has a lot in common with negative capability, I guess. By theory of impersonality, what T.S. Eliot meant, he said, when we judge a poem, it's not a judgment on the poet, but on the poem. So, in order to judge a poem, we do not need to read the history of the poet. So he even give a he had given even a chemical example. He said when we mix oxygen with sulfur dioxide in the presence of platinum, so a uh, new gas by the mixture of all these three. I think we have acid sulfurs, and in the acid sulfurs there is no presence of platinum. So he said in the composition of a work, the personality of uh, poet has to be it's not supposed to be present in the work itself. We by this he meant a poet should be more objective while writing about a poem.
While talking about the theory of impersonality by T.S. Eliot, you were trying to give an example of SO2 sulfur dioxide when come in contact with sulfur. You said the reaction gives what you said?
Uh, sulfurous acid.
Okay, it is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Yes. So that part was missing here. Hybridity. Hybridity talks about the culture, the mixing of culture, the colonial culture and the colonized culture. When these two are mixed together, we call it as a hybrid culture. So this was the crux of the answer that was missing. Okay, Neelu, tell me the two things that you like the most and the two things that you are not agree with the new education policy 2020.
Sir, when I first read the new policy, I was very happy with it. I think if implemented effectively, I think it will help. I think I was not happy with the previous education policies, but I think this one has, I think, uh, the focus of the education, I think, has shifted. I think we have now become more universal in terms of education if compared with other countries. So this time, I think one thing is now, like in intermediate from 9 to 10th, first we had to choose a stream. Either you can go into sciences, or you can go into humanities or commerce. Now you can study them all together. Second thing, sir, I like the most about this education policy is, suppose you are studying commerce in your first year, or for example, BTech, but you came to realize that you have taken a wrong course and you want to change. Maybe you like to go into humanities, or you like to study English literature. So you can switch during the course. You can switch, and your marks or your grades are transferable. Whatever you got in the first year, then those will be transferred in the second year. You can go into your choice of course. So I think these are really wonderful implementation if put into practice effectively. And third one, I think, sir, now we are introducing at a intermediate level, we are introducing foreign languages courses uh, into schools. I think that is very wonderful thing. Now students will be exposed to more diverse courses and will become more familiar with other languages. I think really it will really help students with their cognitive abilities. As proven scientifically, that people who speak more than 2 or 3 languages, and their functioning of cognitive functioning is better than people who just speak 1 or 2 languages. So some of the things, but I did not find anything. Uh, I did not see any defect on the present. Maybe I look again if I could find any, but I did not see any demerits in present education policy.
Okay, please start your class.
Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to discuss 3 unities Aristotle. So before we begin, I would like to give a little bit of background on Aristotle's poetic. As we know, Aristotle is considered the father of English, father of literary criticism. So
I'll just take a pause. Write the topic on the board. Your board is empty and you start the class.
So today we are going to discuss the 3 unities. So from there, I mean, what helped me in the mock interviews was the confidence. I was getting more and more confident. Like with each mock interview, I was getting so confident that even if I did not know, how confident I was. Like, okay, I don't know, but I used to like sometimes struggle, but I was so willing to answer that question. No, maybe I know. So I used to try a lot. So yeah, I mean, mock interviews are really.
Neelu, I would also like to request you to share those feelings of sleepless nights that you spent during this period.
That was, I mean, I have given so many interviews, and I mean, I'm not like bragging, but I don't like to brag about, but I mean, I never failed an interview. I already faced so many interviews abroad, in India, in so many MNCs. I never felt. I was telling you that I never failed an interview. Unfortunately, in this one also, I did not fail. Finally, I qualified. So, but it was my first time. I was so nervous. I had sleepless. I found it difficult to like sleep at night, and if I woke up during the night, so I would start revising what did I study today. So it was like this only. I mean, for a month. So everybody in my family was so worried, like you are not sleeping well, and what you want to do. I mean, it's just an interview, even if you don't get selected. So the other opportunity will come. So don't take it so seriously. You seem like you are really serious. I said, yeah, I'm very serious because I don't want to let this opportunity go. Because I'm not sure when the next time this opportunity will be coming. I can't wait for 4 or 5 years. Like I qualified in the NET JRF in 2018, and it's the first time I got this opportunity. And if this one goes away, I'm not sure when the next time the vacancies will be coming. So I don't want to let it go. And like people sometimes, when you stuck, I mean, you are not in the right direction. People start doubting your skills, your expertise. They have so many questions like, I don't know how did he qualify the NET, JRF? Maybe I don't know. I mean, it happens sometimes. तुक्का लग जाता है. वो सब क्वेश्चन आने शुरू हो जाते हैं कि हाँ, maybe he just qualified. At the same time, I also had qualified GIC, but I did not go for the final exam because of the Hindi thing. I mean, we were going to be English lecturer and we had to like write essays in Hindi. I did not get the
Yes,
sense
yes.
of it. I mean, why we are so focused on Hindi language if we have to teach English? They should check our expertise in English writing. They should make us write essays in English language. Then they will know how qualified we are our subject. So I mean, even Hindi. I mean, it was such an advanced level in Hindi. So I tried initially. Then I said no. I failed Hindi in my BA first year. I definitely going to fail, and I'm out of touch in Hindi for such a long time. Even I found it difficult to
Yes.
write in Hindi. So I decided no. Uh, and at the same time, I also had the feeling that I don't want to be a lecturer, GIC lecturer. So why should I waste? I mean, some other people will go. So I decided not to go. Even my family members were forcing, you should go. Who knows if you don't get selected in UPHE, Uttar Pradesh higher education? Who knows? So maybe if you don't get selected, maybe at least you will become a GIC lecturer. I said, no, I don't want to be GIC lecturer.
Your destiny was something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even
Okay.
yesterday, even yesterday,
Mhm.
I was thinking that in case if I don't get selected, so I'm not going to be discouraged. And next time, I'm going to be in top 10. I have to get selected in top 10. So I'm not going to be, I mean, either I'm going to be selected or I'm going to take something from it. I'm going to learn something from it. So I'm not going to be discouraged. The whole day I was thinking this thing.
That's great. This is the best idea. What I also teach the people that if you have to face something, be ready for the worst. And you
Yes.
will already did that. That's pretty.
Yeah. I was just very adamant that I'm not going to be discouraged. I talked to my family members. I said, in case I don't get selected, so just be silent and see next time what I'm going to do.
Great. Okay, the most interesting thing that the candidates generally ask is what kind of questions were asked to you and how did you tackle those questions in the final interview?
I think when you enter the room, one thing I would suggest because I observed some of the candidates who went for the interview. I mean, they were not properly dressed. I don't know what they were thinking. They were like some of them were in jeans, some of them were wearing sports shoes. So like when I got down on like front of the office there. So I was like in proper attire because I have worked in MNC, so I know how much does it matter. So I had to spend 10,000 just for an interview. So I got up there before the office, and there were so many people standing there. And as I got down there from the auto, they were all looking at me, and I saw in their eyes that they were like feeling. I mean, they had this feeling that maybe I mean this is the candidate. And then I went there. I started talking to people. So everybody was talking to me. They were asking things, questions, and I was like encouraging everyone that they are not going to eat you. I mean, you're just going to have 10 minutes. So you would have 10 minutes, and in that 10 minutes, you have to show whatever you have in you. Some Most of us were nervous, but I was the only one at that time. I don't know what happened to me that day. I never expected that I will be so confident. So I was so confident, maybe because of my mock interviews. I don't know what was going on, but I was really confident. I knew that I would just get 10 minutes, and I have to like show them that yeah, I have got something in me. So they started talking. So one of the thing I noticed this dressing sense, and then when the candidate was coming out from the interview room, they were running after him. What kind of question were asked? I mean, it was such so immature. I mean, no, they are not going to ask everybody the same question. Everybody would be asked different questions. So there's no point asking what other people uh, were asked. So when I came out, they started asking me what they asked. So they asked me go and teach present a past participle because you speak so many languages. So you must be good in grammar. I went there because I was so confident about that. I went there and I explained everything. When I came
Yes.
out, like there were 3, 4 girls, 2 guys, I guess. They were asking what did you are. So I was more focused on like they were asking me present and past participle, and they were asking what is that? Can you explain? And I was explaining. I explained everything that this is present participle, this is past. Then say, okay, can you explain again? So they were trying to like memorize everything. I was, no, this is not going to help you. Just be calm. And it's not necessary that they are going to ask you present and past participle.
Yes.
So in the interview, when I went inside, I don't know, maybe their energy level was down because they have taken already so many interviews. They did not seem I mean, I was so well prepared. I wanted to like convert that interview into a discussion. So I was hoping for that if they, I mean, if they start a discussion, so I will like take the interview in a direction where I can like convert the interview in a discussion, and maybe I will be able to express myself and my ideas. So but it did not happen. Somehow they were like not interested. They were like asking, the questions were like, they were not difficult questions, but they were like out of way. One professor was asking me like he was speaking so slowly, I was not able to get his voice. He was asking me new literature, uh, France literature. He was asking me about translation mostly. Then I was not able to get his questions. Then he, okay, go there and teach something for 2, 3 minutes. You have only 2, 3 minutes. So I started introducing myself. They said, no, no, go teach. Don't introduce. Go, just go there and teach. I said, okay, I'm going to teach you the structure of personality, theory of personality by Sigmund Freud. They said, they all said, no, it's so technical. What do you say, ma'am? It's so technical. They said, they all agree. Yeah, it's so technical. Teach something else. Now, okay, I'm going to teach Sonnet 18. Then I started, no, don't explain. Okay, you done. Come here. Then they started asking questions. They were like very frustrated. I don't know. Then they asked, okay, what did you study? What should we ask you? Anything in general. Uh, okay. So one professor started asking, how would you teach figure of speech? I started giving explaining metaphor simile. Then she asked me what the how to differentiate between a simile and Homeric simile. And I had read, but I had no idea at that time what was Homeric simile. Then I said, okay. Then another professor started asking, uh, what did you study? Tell me something about text. You speak so many languages. Yes. So she started counting. You speak Portuguese, you speak French, you speak Hindi. And she said, and English? I said, yes, obviously, because we are already communicating English. So then she said, why did not you learn any other Indian languages? I said, I learned these languages because I was interested in their literature, and some also had some professional reasons. Maybe if I get a chance, so maybe I will learn Marathi. Maybe I'm interested in learning one Indian language, so I don't know yet. But yeah, maybe in future Marathi, either Marathi or maybe some Tamil or Telugu. I'm not sure. We'll see. But maybe Marathi. She said, okay, nice. So she said, a person who speaks more than 2 languages, there we have a word for that. What is that? I said, polyglot. Yeah, nice. So tell me what texts you have read. I said, I have read some of the poetries, and I had memorized all those poetries. Even she had asked, so I said, "What to Nightingale?" I have like the poetry consists of 8 stanzas. I think 80 lines there, and I had memorized that. No, she was interested in tell me about a dramatist. I said I like William Shakespeare's dramas. So she said, which plays you have read? I I gave her a couple of names, and then she came to Tempest. Okay, what is the thematic elements? I was, I think she was asking me about the theme of Tempest. I said, I think it was the first play where we have the post-colonial theme. So Prospero started living in the island. Then he like owned the island, and he colonized. He started teaching Caliban his language. Then she got happy. Yeah, yes. What other texts you have read which talks about colonization? Then said, I have read Robinson Crusoe. So I had read Robinson Crusoe when I was in Philippines. So I said, yeah, that one also has a post-colonial theme in that. Some of the, I think, first text where the we have the themes of post-colonial, and then we have Onoruku by Afraban. Then she was happy, quite happy. And one or two options, she also asked one or two questions. I replied all of them. Then they said, okay, go there and teach present and past participle. So I went there and I explained.
Great. So it was a very nice experience.
Yeah, very wise. But I think I could have done. I mean, I had studied everything. I mean, whole syllabus, and besides all the literary theories. So I think I was well prepared, but unfortunately, they did not ask.
Yeah, they did not allow you to perform.
Yeah, they did not allow me. That's why I was a bit disappointed, because I was expecting it to be quite interactive session, but somehow that didn't happen. It was like
Yes.
they were not interested. So that thing like put me a bit down, because I was studying so hard. I did not study that hard for the written exam, and for the interview I was studying so hard. Then as I was about to leave, I greeted everyone that thank you so much for your valuable time, and thank you so much for making me feel so comfortable. Okay, okay. Then the chairperson, he started asking about my dress. Who tied your knot? I said I can tie, but sometimes when I tie it, either it's too lengthy or it's too short. So I took a professional help, because I wanted it to be perfect. Although it's still not perfect, but yeah, it's okay. Then he said, no, today is perfect. Today it's perfect.
Okay, great, 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 great.
So
Okay.
then I created again.
So,
And
okay, so when you got the result yesterday, what was your first expression, and to whom did you share this news first?
I mean, first thing, like when I saw the PDF, so my hand started shaking a bit. So I was like checking, and this was like shaking. Then I went down and I saw my number. Then I told my brother, he was there, that, yeah, I got selected. Then first person I called, it was my sister in Delhi, with whom I live presently. So I shared that I qualified, and they were so happy. They felt really proud that, yeah, you did it. So they were all happy. And then my whole family, they were like, I was just sitting calm and no reaction at all, and they are like, they were so happy, everybody.
Great, great. So finally, if I ask you to acknowledge all the names since the beginning for your success, what are all those names would you like to take here?
First thing, I think it's my sister, like, who helped me, because without her it never have been possible. She, like, I still live with her. I mean, she has a family, and then she took me in and like helped me. Like, my mother passed away in 2007. Then my father passed away, so she's like a mother to me. And then my brother-in-law, uh, he's also like has helped me. Like, he also like a father figure. And then one of my professor, like when I was in Portuguese uh, course, so she had a great influence on me. Like, uh, she was, I mean, she taught me actually how to study, how to become a curious learner, how to, I mean, it's not about like passing the course, getting the good results. It's not about that. It's about learning, because only learning can help you. These marks and grades won't help you. So, like in my family, so my niece, she graduated from Delhi University in geography honors, and she was the topper. And after that, she did nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was telling me that uh, it's all about learning, because she is still doing her PhD from Brazil. She is in Brazil, and she is around 50, I guess, and she is still studying. She is still working hard. She speaks 4 languages. She has done her MPhil in Spanish, and she's fluent in Portuguese. She's been teaching Portuguese for I think 10 years now. So and is still working hard. I mean, whenever I went into her cabin, she was always reading something. Always. She
Okay.
just
So this
she
reading
was
habit is there since in your genes, the genes
yeah,
of your generation.
yeah. So she was like one of the thing she mentioned when we're in the final of the course that she was checking the attendance and she saw that I was never absent from her class. Never. She was checking the all the details and whatever assignment she gave, I always completed on time, always. And she acknowledged it quite like lot of times and she was the one I think she found out that I was interested in learning. I was really wanted to like I was always there. If she gave up homework, then I had to finish that on time. And I never wanted to miss her class because it was not about just, she was not interested only imparting the course knowledge. She was like actually teaching us about culture. She lived in Japan. She lived in so many countries. She was always sharing her experiences, and that is what like motivated me quite a lot. That if she can, and her brother, he was like studying with me at that time. I had no idea that he was the real brother. Then I found out that he was the real brother, and she was like the first member from her family, and she did not marry, and she was only interested in like teaching and studying. So she had a big influence. Then some of the people, I mean, in India we have a history of legends. So Bhagat Singh, I was reading about Bhagat Singh, like when they were taking him to hang. I think when they went to take him, he was reading. I think Lenin. He was reading Marxism at that time when they were, and they one of the guard was asking why you are still reading. He said he will won't get it. Then he turned the page and then said that someone else will finish it, and he went with them. Then Udham Singh, and I think Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar is also one of the great influence. I mean, such a great personality. He studied in such a harsh conditions. I think he was also. I mean, he's a great inspiration for anyone. Like at that time, he had I think 3 or 4 PhD at that time. So I think he's also. I mean, quite an inspiration. So there are so many people who has inspired me because I read a lot. I read many biographies. I have a Boswell Johnson uh, biography. So yeah, I think, and
Okay,
especially people.
last question to you. I
Yes, sir.
won't take too much time. The last
Okay.
question is, if I ask you to give few suggestions for those candidates who are going to appear at next advertisement 51, what will be those suggestions for written and interview?
I think either you should be so good like you know everything, or you should find a proper guidance. I think that's really important, and you should love your subject. I mean, loving your subject. Just don't read for qualifying the exam. Read for gaining knowledge. I mean, poetry. I mean, literature is everything. Whatever I have learned in life is through literature. It's all about life. I mean, as Matthew Arnold mentioned, that is a criticism of life. So literature grows out of life. So if you're really interested in learning about life, so I mean, we should study literature like that only, not to pass exams only. So it could be really help. Like I'm growing old, and we all going to grow old. So I think poetry can really help while growing old. I mean, the question of death and life and everything. Life is not easy. I mean, for me, literature is quite an inspiration. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me going in life. Like so many obstacles and difficulties in life. So yeah, literature can really help.
Okay, great. That's great.
Mm.
So it was a very nice interaction, Neelu, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy to share that few days back I was interacting you as a candidate, and now I am interacting you as an assistant professor. That's
Yeah,
really
sir.
a thrilling experience.
Yeah, sir. Sir, before ending the session, I would like to really express my gratitude. I mean, I still feel, I mean, I can't, these things can't be expressed in words, I guess, because sometimes what you feel, you cannot put into words. But yeah, I feel lucky that, I found out about your channel, and we got interacted, and your guidance. I mean, one of the things that helped me in interview, I mean, the confidence I had, it was I because I had this feeling that yeah, I can do it. So it came all from, I think, mock interviews. So I'm really grateful for that, and I will always be in touch. I mean, just tell me anytime. I mean, if need my help in whatever I can do.
Surely, surely. I can also feel that many times in our mock interview, we have a very grilling session for hours
Yes.
together. So
Yeah.
that was real. Yeah. So really, I'm very much thankful for taking your valuable time for this interaction.
Yeah, it was pleasure was all mine, sir, and we will keep in touch. And thanks again for helping
Surely.
helping
Thank you
us.
so much. Thank you so much, Neelu. Surely
Although
we'll
I
be
was
getting
quite
connected.
seeing the number of the candidates, so I felt really bad. People who could not make it to the final list. I mean, some of them
Yes.
really great students. I was really sad. I mean, it's such a difficult time. I mean, it's sometimes confusing. Either you should celebrate your victory or you should mourn for the other people's loss. So it's like that sometimes. So
That's
some
true.
of the
That's true.
candidates.
Okay, dear. All the best for your
Okay.
future ahead,
Okay.
and
Thank you,
we'll
sir.
get
Yeah.
connected.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, sir. Take care. Bye.